G'day, Don here again. I've got some exciting things what I've just been thinking about lately. But first of all, I want to tell you about my RM boots. They're fucking beauties, mate. They're really good. They've held up well. They're already a year or two old, and they're just great boots. I can't say how good they really are, and you'll find out for yourself when you get a pair. So, what else I wanted to say today is about meth. People who's using meth and other people who's saying meth's the problem. I'll tell you straight out, meth isn't the problem. A lot of people, including myself, when we were young, had a great time. We had a couple of lines, we saw a band, and it was just the best time ever. And it sticks in my mind. That was a great time. It was one of the things in life that just made me just find a fight to keep going. And it was a great time. But the problem was with me and how I've been conditioned to cope with life. A lot of the time I was sat in front of the TV, sent to school on my own, by myself. So in my head, I was already making a foundation to rely on my own, my very own potential. So potentially, my potential was up to me. I wasn't encouraged to be part of a group or a group conscience or anything like that with my family. It was like, you're on your own, that's it, this is family, this is the group, here you go off on your own to make your way in life. And more and more, as I grew as I realised the potential that drugs had to make me feel good about my life and who I am, the more self-absorbed I became, and I became more focused on myself and what I could make happen in my life. And by the time I'd reached about 16, I'd been shooting up for a year or so. I've been smoking weed, hash, everything. I've been doing sniffing glue since I was 10 or whatever. But all of these things, what I was using was encouraging me to have that anointment or that feeling of belonging was centered on drugs. And I think that there was a good reason for that. I think that all of us who was sort of in the same boat as me, was all encouraged to have this this realization of self-potential, that potentially you can have, you can be whatever you want to be. That's one of the lines I've got. And although some people responded well to it, I think that the flaw in it is that it can be sabotaged. It can be manipulated so that we don't fit in with the general gist of it, the potential, the self-realization of potential under a teacher. And I think it's because we had to leave that group, a family group, and go to school, leave our family group to go to wherever. It's kind of getting a bit technical because I'm rambling about it a bit more. I'm trying to think into it too much, and I think that I've already said what needed to be said. That when we turn to drugs to feel like we're getting something out of life, it's because we are. It's what we are getting something out of life when we take drugs. But it's because we're conditioned for that. and a lot of the time it's groups of people, organised criminals that are manufacturing the drugs and distributing them. And some people are being alienated in that because they're never going to really sort of get accepted into the group that's distributing or cooking or anything like that. It's like you're a user. You become an addict and you're consumed by that beast that you subject yourself to. You're much better off with a beast who's a good teacher. I know Jesus is a great beast for me. Um, we've got Satan here, but let me say that the image of Satan says so much more to me than it does the image of Jesus being crucified. To me, Satan is crying. This is a picture of Satan. He's crying, mate. Or is it that he's having a bit of a wash in the tears of God? You know, there's something to be said about paintings and how they can be so meaningful. And this is actually on top of a painting I've got from a friend of mine, or well, no, it's an associate really, Frankie Lee. He gave me this picture. He's from a tribe of Aborigines from Kagada, West Coast, South Australia, like Sejuna, the tribal name Maryland. It's a story about taking young boys hunting with the tribal elders. There's a picture underneath. We can take it off if you want. Let me know in the comments if you want me to take that off. But I thought it was fitting that Satan take over from these first peoples. I thought it was significant. Well, I'll put this picture on top of the Aboriginal picture because that seems to be where it's at the moment. I mean, we can always take Satan off. If you think that's important, I mean, you can leave in the comments if you think it's important. But I don't know. I think I can learn a lot more from Satan than I can going hunting with the tribal elders. Although I would have loved to have been. I mean, imagine that, hunting for survival rather than hunting for a place to school. I mean, that's fucking wicked. That's just an awesome fucking shift in life from. So far as I'm concerned, when I was young, I think that's what I was longing to do. I went shooting, used to go shooting. I went shooting a couple of times with my friends from school, and it was great. It was awesome. I wasn't allowed to shoot any of the guns. I think I shot one of the guns once, and they laughed at me because I wasn't a good shot. But I went shooting with those guys, and it was one of the experiences what I really liked was their dad was he used to go shooting, and that's like when I was a teenager. All I wanted to do was go shooting and have some army training and learn how to kill people and things and defend, and I wanted to be really fit and strong and all that as well, and I'm pretty sure that I would have been able to cope with it. But because I had this psychological problem, that's kind of how I was conditioned for to be a destructive influence. From when I was very young, they killed some rabbits in front of me, blood white rabbits. It's a whole thing for some cult that does what fucks kids up, basically. And they chose me to do it. I live in Adelaide, happened here in Adelaide. There's a group of these cunts called fucking the Family. I think that's one of their things they're doing. But there's all sorts of things I can come up with about it. But in reality, I don't know much about it. I only know I went through that when I was a little kid, and that funked in my head. That's about all I've got that I can prove. I mean, you look through my history and hear what I have to say, you'll realise that I'm a bit fucked up. But what are you going to do about it? You know, it's not something that you can fix. It's something that I have to want to fix. And I've done a pretty good job at cutting the pieces off that were sabotaging the life I had always dreamed about. Um, but yeah, there's probably ways I could improve on that, and who's not open to some kind of improvement in their life. So there's so many ways, financial, spiritual, um, uh, ethical. But there's all these so many things we could change if we wanted to, and experience it there. Life on the other side, like grass is greener on the other side, until you get there and realise, hey, this is still, it just looks greener. Now that I look back there, the grass is just as green over there. Maybe there's something in the next paddock. It's like, where does it end? You just continue jumping on fences. And if you think you can sit on a fence and just watch the people with the green grass there, or the sheep there with the green grass, the goats there with the green grass, it's just like, where you think you're above the green grass, like you don't go to the grass to get a feed, whether it's on this side or that side. And what's the point of this division between, so my friend on YouTube, Rita McLeod, is antenatal. He's saying, stop having kids. There's a solution in that. That's going to help the world. It's going to help the individual. It's going to help people who are having kids. Because the people who are having kids, their kids have more opportunity to than they would have in a more competitive society. So there's answers in everything, and depending on your perspective. Yeah, where's your perspective? I'm a man to be right up above everything, and you can see all the different perspectives, like from a mountaintop. So this is where Moses came up with the commandments. There needs to be a generalization, a general association we make with each other under like a law. The Ten Commandments are might as well be fucking laws. They're all good. But I think even there is two different categories of commandments. And I think that's where the judgment can come from, the influence we will have in an ongoing sense. Anyway, I think I'm getting a little bit too far into it at this stage, because I don't know how I influence people after I'm dead. I mean, is it what I said, what I put on video? Is it what I wrote down? Is it I don't know how it is I will live on after I'm finished with this. It's all a bit of a journey, and I ain't giving this up, because this is pretty much all I've got to influence people at this time. And I think it's a good responsibility as we get older to realise that we have an influence on other people, and how that influence can pass on through. Our influence can change the fucking world. To put it quite simply, Jesus has done it, Muhammad done it, Buddha done it. Will have this influence over people, and people is motivated by the influence that we have. And I hope that I don't motivate people to be destructive. I was very destructive towards myself. I slashed my wrist. I had a rope around my fucking neck. I don't know how many times. And I always wanted to be dead until I realised there was something else, I guess. I always wanted that, but I don't even know why I don't want it anymore It's like it's almost as if I'm alive in spite of it. It's like it's a motivation to not fucking do it now. But yeah, throughout my younger years, first time I tried to kill myself was little kids, must have been 7 or 8, something like that. Holding our breath under the bed, under the covers, trying to suffocate ourselves. Then I tried to do pill overdoses with alcohol. I was about 11 or 12. I tried to gas myself. I tried to hang myself. I tried to slash my wrists. So many times. I only ever really got in trouble for when I slashed my wrist because there was pissed out blood everywhere. I needed to be stitched up. I couldn't I think somebody found me. I was in a bad way, but I came to after I realised I might be in danger, and I got up and started walking. But it's a whole other thing to be thinking about my cousins who killed themselves. It's not nice to see my family, the people that I love and care about. They're upset about their brother, and it's just it's like even if I wasn't close to them myself, even if they didn't even fucking like me myself. I mean, James and Willie's funeral I never even got to, but it was still the thought of somehow the influences that were influencing me also influenced them in the destructive drug addiction, alcohol, and the way of relating to other people. It hits home pretty hard when you see those people in a coffin, dead. You can't speak to them again. It's kind of like. Well, I don't want to have to try to explain it. I would hate to do that to people. For people to come to my funeral, there might be some cunts out there who have a fucking ball. They'd laugh it up and say, good, I'm glad that cunt's dead. But in reality, there's my mum and dad. They would not be happy, even though they're both dead. They wouldn't be happy that I killed myself. And I might not respect them fully, but I am thankful for my life and the experience I've had here so far. But I can be bitter towards that pair of guns. They ended up getting a divorce, and at one stage they were just staying together for the kids. And it's like I think that we don't fucking realise that, but that's a fight that's going on within me. It's just my fault. Why they attacking each other like this? This isn't the love that I fucking believe in. This isn't the love that brought me into the world. What's happened to love? Is it dead? Is it dying? Is it real? And these people just made some kind of financial agreement between themselves, and I got drawn into it because my mum liked to play dollies with the other girls, and my dad liked to bring things home to show the people that he loved, that he'd made. It's all these kind of associations can come into my mind as I devaluate myself, when in fact my parents taught me to love, and I'm a good person, and I love life, and I love people. And why do I do that? Even though I don't spend no time with no people, with hardly any people, it doesn't matter. The thing is, I'm putting this here for people. This video is for people. It's not for the dog up the road. It's not for the cat down the road. It's for me. It's for other people. It's for the sake of having a positive influence, or an influence that I believe in, on other people. And this need to influence others, and for people to look at me or listen to what I have got to say, is a human thing. It's natural. It doesn't really but it does really. So there's these two things. It's like this dualism, this equal and opposite. Right? My fingers go this way, but I can see on the camera on the TV screen in front of me, and that my fingers are over here. But it's like it's an opposite. But in as far as an image goes, you've got like matter and antimatter, light matter and dark matter, and this separation. And if we want to define the different species or increments of division, it's turn it the other way, it's multiplication. It's like segregation. And I think that it's like if you look at a fractal image, and it sort of goes out, it's all the same, but it starts out really small, it gets really big. It's the same thing for life and for our relationship within the dimension. The dimension we're in now, we can speculate at from what we can relate to. But if we were to go into incredibly tiny little environment there, we would probably still see the same thing as we would see an incredibly huge, massive environment. I noticed there's a picture coming out, or some telescope is going to start that they put up not long ago is going to start bringing images to us of the far reaches of the universe. That will help us to find other planets. And that's obviously the next step. I say, oh, fuck this planet, let's go to another country and fuck that up. That's how it goes. I don't think that that's the spirit of it, but that's the way we can say that it goes. It's like, well, this planet's finished with its life. We can't sustain life here anymore. Let us take all the DNA codes and go somewhere else. Take the DNA codes there, to a suitable place, and we'll see what we can do. Is that how we got here, to this planet? I don't know. But it's pretty interesting to think about things in that way. And I'm sure you could look up to the stars and think, wow, I mean, how many different places did life go? And is it probable that life can exist anywhere and everywhere at a certain time under certain circumstances? And there might have been life on the moon. I don't know if it would be a man, which is another interesting thing. That's a figure with horns on its head that looks like it's in the moon. That was funny when I saw that, the man in the moon. Is that the man on the moon? What man in the moon? And why has he got the horns on his head? I remember asking that question. And don't be so stupid. There's no man in the moon, was the answer. It's only a young fellow then. But anyway, there's all sorts of crap I can dribble on about, but it's taken 25 minutes or so of your life to listen to this shit. I hope you got something from it to grow something in your life. This is it from Uncle Don for today. Enjoy the day. Thank you. And I'll find the right button.